If you're a man, you need to start listening to a side of yourself that you probably aren't real familiar with. This is the impulse voice that is deep down inside of you. Now, this is not your conscience that's telling you what to do and what is right, or the little Jiminy Cricket on your shoulder. This is the voice that you were born with. This is something very instinctual inside of you that society, for the most part, has kind of told you not to be listening to. If you think about it, if you listened deeply and shut out everything that was being brought into you, all the influence, all the stuff, if you just shut out all the bullshit and you only listen to exactly what your instincts and your impulses were telling you to do, you would probably be a crazed animal. We would probably be far from sophistication if we did something like that. So society does work very hard to get you to quiet that impulse voice, even though you probably aren't really that familiar with it because it was probably quieted a long time ago when you were a child. You think about when you were probably 3, maybe 4 years old, and you were at a kid's birthday party and you're just hanging out, just being a kid. And if you saw a kid with something that you wanted, a toy or a cookie, cracker, whatever it may be, did you ask if you could have that? Did you ask if they would share? No. You reached over and you took it out of their fucking hand and you owned it, and you made that other kid cry, but you didn't care. You just wanted it. That was you. That was your impulses. That was your instinct saying, this is what I want, and I don't care how you feel about it. That's what I'm going to take. I was at a birthday party. Speaking of why I'm thinking of this, is I was at a birthday party with my kids were quite a bit older. They were teenagers at the time, but we were at this little kid's birthday party. And these 2-year-olds, or maybe 3-year-olds, were sitting there playing with some toys, and one reached over and grabbed a toy from another and made that other kid cry. Now, the 2 young moms were doing the best they could with the situation, and they both went down there and tried to explain to a 3-year-old why it was important to share. Now, I watched these kids trying to process that information, and I thought to myself, this is like teaching a dog the concept of tomorrow. These 2 kids are just not getting it. So, of course, I had to say something, and I looked over and I said, my kids used to do that same thing. They would steal a toy, and I used to call that winning. They didn't like me. These 2 moms still don't like me to this day. But the point of it is there was a side of you at one time that didn't give a fuck. Now, think about that. Where did that person go? Where did that guy go that just flat didn't give a fuck? Most likely society has gotten their hooks into you and made you think that it was important to worry about what other people say, what other people think about you, and then you had to become a product of that situation. If you think about it really closely, you were taught to share and be kind to others because it didn't come natural to you. You weren't born with these skills. They had to be taught to you. Now that's kind of rudimentary to think about, but there's still a side of you as a man that still feels that, even though you're in this shell right now and trying to be a good citizen, be kind to others, and work well with others, but there's still this deep voice inside of you. It's called your impulse voice, and it's telling you things that you probably don't tell other people it's saying about you. Think of all the things you think about every single day. Your greed, your pride, your lust, what you lust for, who you may lust for, these sort of things you never tell anybody about because that voice inside of you is still talking to you and still telling you things. But you quiet that. Society says, don't touch it, don't taste it, don't even go anywhere near it. And most of you are doing that, and it's beginning to show in society. Now, I'm not saying go out and be a wild animal or be a criminal, but what I am saying is it's time for men to start listening to that deep, dark voice inside of them and just get to know it better. Understand it's there. Don't fear it. I think a lot of men fear that that sinister side of themselves. But I'm going to promise you something. That dark spot, that really dark zone where the impulse voice is telling you things that you never say out in public, I'm going to promise you that those are the places where most all of your success in anything you do is going to be born. Now think about this, and I know everybody has done this. All of you guys have done this, and don't deny it, please. Don't fill me with bullshit. You're walking down the street, or you're someplace, I don't know where it is, and you see an attractive woman. Man, she's hot, whatever it is. Maybe it's someone you work with, maybe it's someone you've just met, maybe it's somebody in your own circle. I don't know what the situation may be, but you know what that situation is, and you know who I'm talking about. And you think to yourself when you see her, you think, damn, she would slap me if she knew what I was thinking right now. All right, you don't say it out loud, you just have these thoughts. These are the things that go through your mind as a man, but you never say it out loud. I know you've done it, don't deny it, but here's the thing, this is the side of you that is impulsive. This is the side of you that's instinctive. This is your impulse voice telling you things. And you're listening to it. Maybe you grin, maybe you laugh a little bit under your breath or something about it. But there's nothing wrong with it. Now, this is what I want you to understand. You are not a bad person because you have this dark, little bit sinister side of yourself that tells you these things. You know that the devil on your shoulder here and the angel on the other side? You're listening to that little devil on that side of your shoulder. You remember the cartoons of that. It's okay to listen to that. And I think what you're going to find if you begin to start embracing that little bit darker side, that little bit more just the stuff you don't say out loud, if you start embracing that a little bit more, I think you're going to be able to begin to apply some of that into your external life. Now, you're going to use discretion, of course. I'm not saying run around and start smacking every hot chick on the ass. Just understand that it's there and that you could use it. Think about the money you want to make. What is everybody, they've got this whole thing now where if you want to become wealthy, you want to become super successful, you look greedy, right? This is what they say about all the incredible rich people. Greed, greed, greed. You have a side of yourself that is totally about greed. Absolutely, you would step on heads to get to where you are. Deep down inside, and that voice is telling you to do that. But socially, is it that acceptable to be greedy? I don't think it's greed to want to become wealthy, have vast fortune in your life. That's not greedy. That's you wanting to do better. So what you need to become is comfortable with people thinking that because you want to become so super successful that you're going to look greedy. That's okay. Let them think it. Here's the thing. Why the fuck do you care what anybody's thinking anyway? That's maybe your biggest problem. Most likely, that is everybody's biggest problem, is you care what the fuck everybody thinks and what they're saying about everything that you're doing. You care. You care too much. You need to uncare about all this shit that's going through your mind and start embracing a little bit more of that dark side of you that says, I don't give a fuck what you think, what you say, any of that. I'm going after this, and I don't care if I find that chick attractive, and I don't care if I want lots of money. I don't care if I want an impractical vehicle to drive every single day. I don't care what you say anymore about me. I want this, and I want it for myself, and I want it for my family. That's the impulse voice screaming, yes, go get everything you want. Stop fucking around and just get it. And I think you're going to see something incredibly different. Once you change that mindset and become ready to embrace that dark side of yourself, those things that 3-year-old that just reached out and grabbed the toy that you wanted and made somebody else cry. You didn't fucking care. Become this man that starts to not care about what other people think, or if you're hurting some other people's feelings, because you want to do better for yourself and you want to do better for your family. There is no shame in this whatsoever, and there's no virtue in being submissive to the society and what it's worked out for you. Being poor, being average, being mediocre is not virtuous. It's not grand. Going out and being better than anybody else at